My friends, money is a force that mirrors the vibration of your inner world. It is not a master to be feared, but a servant that responds to the rhythm of your faith. To stay steady in the money is to remain poised, calm, and unwavering, no matter what the outer appearance may whisper. The invisible law of supply is never broken. It is the human mind that falters, that doubts, that shakes the current of prosperity by sending out signals of fear, limitation, and lack. Yet the universe has no shortage. It is abundant beyond measure, waiting for the soul who stands steady, anchored in the conviction that divine supply is endless. When you allow worry to rule your heart, you choke the flow of money. Anxiety sends a message to the universe that you do not trust the process. But when you stay steady, when your faith is firm, your attitude radiant, and your gratitude constant, you open the invisible gates of abundance. Money loves calmness. It moves toward order, confidence, and certainty. It flees from doubt, fear, and complaint. You cannot magnetize wealth with a restless spirit. You must quiet your inner chatter, speak words of assurance, and act as though the supply is already here, because in truth, it already is. The steady soul knows that every bill is a blessing in disguise, for it represents an opportunity to circulate wealth. When you pay in joy, you multiply your riches. When you pay in fear, you delay your good. Life mirrors your inner attitude toward money. If you believe it is scarce, it will behave like a frightened bird, always flying away. But if you believe it is infinite, it will perch upon your hand and remain. Money, like every good thing, follows faith. To stay steady is to stay certain that every need is met in divine order, that no loss is real, and that no delay can deny your appointed supply. There are those who rise in prosperity, only to fall again because they were never steady. They rode the wave of gain but forgot the law of balance. They let outer appearances dictate their emotions. When money flowed, they were joyful. When it paused, they were afraid. But those who walk in true abundance are not moved by appearances. They know the river of wealth may bend, but it never dries. They know that faith must be constant, not conditional. They hold peace when others panic, gratitude when others grumble, and vision when others see void. To stay steady in the money is to bless the flow, not chase it. You are not required to struggle or strain. You are required to believe. Money is not drawn by effort but by energy. It listens to the tone of your soul, not the noise of your labor. When you affirm prosperity, when you act from assurance, and when you give with gladness, you command the law of supply to fulfill itself through you. Every word you speak is a seed, and every thought you dwell upon is a magnet. Speak abundance and abundance will answer. Expect good and good will appear. If you find yourself in a season where money seems still, do not tremble. It is only the universe rearranging itself to bring you something better. Stand firm. Say, divine substance is my unfailing supply, and great abundance is mine now. Repeat it until the vibration of truth takes hold within you. This is not wishful thinking, it is alignment with the law. The law never fails. But man must stay steady long enough to let it work. Impatience digs up the seed before it blooms. Fear freezes the harvest before it ripens. Only steadfast faith brings the gold to the surface. Money responds to order, gratitude, and peace. Keep your finances in divine harmony. Give thanks for what you have, no matter how small it may seem, and it will multiply. Bless every dollar that passes through your hands, for it will return tenfold. Refuse to speak words of lack. Never declare, I can't afford it, for those are chains around your abundance. Instead say, it is not yet mine to have, but the way will appear in perfect timing. Every calm word builds a bridge to more. Every fearful word builds a wall. Choose your speech wisely, for it sets the course of your supply. The secret to staying steady in the money is spiritual poise. It is the quiet knowing that your good is already accomplished in the unseen. You do not need to rush or grasp. You only need to align and allow. The universe does not reward panic, it rewards peace. When you trust the process, when you release the need to control, you step into the rhythm of divine wealth. You begin to notice that money comes not only through expected channels, but through unseen hands, inspired ideas, and divine appointments. The steady soul walks in faith, gives with joy, receives with gratitude, and lives with peace. They do not measure their worth by their wallet, but by their wisdom. They know money is not their source. It is a reflection of their consciousness. Therefore, they guard their thoughts as treasures and their words as currency. They build riches first within, knowing that outer wealth always follows inner wealth. To stay steady is to know that the same power that created worlds is guiding your finances now. Money is motion. It moves according to your inner state. The more calm, confident, and grateful you are, the more freely it circulates. If you wish to attract more, bless what you have. If you wish to multiply, release fear. If you wish to sustain wealth, remain steady. The wise never let temporary appearances shake their faith. They walk with assurance that divine supply is never late and never limited. Every delay hides a greater design. Every challenge conceals an opportunity for expansion. So, hold your peace when others worry. Smile when others complain. Keep your words sweet, your heart serene, and your faith unmovable. For to stay steady in the money is to stand in alignment with the divine law of abundance itself. You were not born to chase money. You were born to command it through your consciousness. When you are steady, money will find its rightful place in your life, flowing freely, multiplying effortlessly, and serving you as you serve your purpose. Steadiness in faith keeps the flow of money constant, because faith is the vibration that aligns your life with the infinite source of supply. When one's faith is firm and unshaken, it creates an atmosphere of stability that draws prosperity like a magnet. Faith is not mere belief. It is the quiet knowing that behind every appearance of lack, the law of abundance is working. To stay steady in faith is to remain centered, even when the outer world trembles, to know that divine substance is always present, and that your needs are met in perfect timing. Most people falter not because the supply is gone, but because their faith wavers at the first sign of delay. They let fear speak louder than truth, and in doing so, they cut the invisible current that sustains their prosperity. The universe is not confused. It responds precisely to the vibration of certainty. The person who holds unwavering faith creates an unbroken link to the flow of money, because they are not moved by appearances. They know that every delay is temporary, and that no situation can block the divine order of supply. Faith is the spiritual foundation upon which financial stability rests. When your faith is steady, your emotions remain calm, and your mind remains clear. A clear mind sees opportunities where others see obstacles. It acts with wisdom, not panic. Money responds to that calm assurance because it is a vibration in harmony with divine law. When fear arises, faith answers with truth. It reminds you that the same power that guides the stars governs your finances. This awareness keeps you centered and open to the flow. A person of faith is not distracted by temporary lack, because they know the law of supply is continuous. Faith is not tested when everything is flowing smoothly. It is tested when appearances seem contrary. In those moments, the steady soul stands firm, affirming abundance, speaking words of plenty, and refusing to entertain any thought of limitation. Money is energy, and energy follows attention. When your attention is filled with fear and doubt, you close the door to the current of supply. When your attention is rooted in faith, you become a conduit through which abundance can freely circulate. Faith transforms the invisible into the visible. It turns an idea into income, a vision into manifestation. The one who is steady in faith does not chase money. They attract it naturally because they trust the divine law to bring them what is theirs by right of consciousness. Faith is the seed of prosperity, and steadiness is the soil in which that seed grows. The wavering mind digs up the seed before it has time to bloom. The steady mind waters it daily with trust, affirmation, and gratitude. There are moments in life when circumstances appear bleak, when the bills are many and the bank balance is low. These moments are not meant to defeat you. They are meant to train your faith. Every challenge is a divine invitation to prove that the law works. If you stay steady in faith, refusing to let outer conditions dictate your inner peace, you activate the unseen power that rearranges situations in your favor. Faith is not passive, it is active, creative, and magnetic. It does not wait for things to change before believing. It believes first, and by believing, it causes things to change. When you are steady in faith, you move beyond the illusion of lack and see the abundance already surrounding you. You begin to notice opportunities you once overlooked, ideas you once dismissed, and doors you once thought closed suddenly opening. Faith is a spiritual currency. When you spend it, it multiplies. When you doubt, it depreciates. To stay steady in faith means to refuse to speak words of fear or limitation. It means guarding your thoughts as sacred ground, for what you think repeatedly becomes your experience. Faith speaks abundance even in scarcity. It blesses every dollar, knowing it will return multiplied. It gives joyfully, knowing that giving and receiving are one and the same. The unsteady person says, "I will believe when I see." The steady one says, "I will see because I believe." The difference between the two is the difference between struggle and flow. The universe moves toward certainty. When your faith is steady, you send out a clear, unwavering signal to the divine substance, and that signal attracts prosperity in perfect order. Steadiness in faith also means emotional discipline. It is refusing to let worry or impatience disturb your peace. It is keeping your words positive, your tone calm, and your heart grateful, no matter the outer circumstances. Every time you affirm the truth of abundance, you strengthen your connection to the flow. Every time you speak lack, you weaken it. The person who stays steady in faith treats money as a friend, not a master. They respect it, bless it, and use it wisely, but they are not controlled by it. Their faith is in divine substance, not in numbers on a screen. That inner security becomes the anchor that keeps the flow steady, even when outer tides shift. When your faith is steady, you begin to live in harmony with the law of circulation. You understand that what you give returns multiplied, and what you fear to release creates stagnation. Faith allows you to give with joy, knowing that divine substance refills every channel you open. It teaches you that loss is an illusion, and that every outflow prepares the way for greater inflow. The one who clings in fear disrupts the current, while the one who trusts keeps it moving. Faith does not hoard, it circulates. Faith does not beg, it claims. Faith does not panic, it praises. And in this vibration of praise, the flow of money remains constant. The person of steady faith lives in expectation of good. They wake up each day knowing that something wonderful is unfolding, even if they cannot yet see it. They trust divine timing. They understand that delays are not denials, and that their prosperity is secure in the invisible. Because they live in this vibration of assurance, they naturally draw people, opportunities, and resources that match their faith. Others sense their calm energy and are drawn to it. The steady soul becomes a center of supply, not because they chase money, but because their faith is a magnet for it. When your faith is unsteady, you ride the waves of emotion. High when money comes, low when it slows. But when your faith is steady, you rise above the waves entirely. You remain centered in truth, knowing that divine substance never ceases to flow. You do not depend on a single source, because you know there are infinite channels through which your good can come. This awareness dissolves fear and replaces it with quiet confidence. The steady soul knows that their wealth is spiritual first, material second. They focus on maintaining their inner richness, and the outer results follow naturally. Faith is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is the invisible power that makes prosperity tangible. When you stay steady in faith, you refuse to let appearances dictate your destiny. You know that everything seen was once unseen, everything visible was once invisible, and every form of money began as an idea. So, you guard your ideas as treasures. You hold faith as your greatest asset, because it is the source of all others. You affirm daily that divine substance flows freely through you, and that you are a channel for its expression. You maintain peace even when things appear uncertain, because you know that faith is working behind the scenes. And as you hold this inner steadiness, the flow of money remains constant, matching the rhythm of your unwavering belief. Gratitude and calmness magnetize divine supply, because they align the soul with the frequency of abundance and dissolve the resistance that fear and worry create. Gratitude is not merely a polite expression. It is a spiritual magnet. When you give thanks sincerely for what you have, you acknowledge the divine order already working in your life, and by doing so, you invite more to appear. The universe responds not to desperation but to appreciation. A grateful heart emits a vibration that says, "I am already blessed." And that vibration calls forth more blessings. Gratitude multiplies everything it touches, because it focuses your attention on sufficiency rather than lack. Every thought of gratitude expands your consciousness of abundance, and as your consciousness expands, so does your capacity to receive. The one who complains shuts the door of prosperity, while the one who gives thanks opens it wide. Gratitude is a silent prayer that draws divine supply like a river drawn to the sea. Calmness is the second half of the magnet. When you are calm, you are open. When you are anxious, you are closed. The calm mind allows divine ideas to flow freely. It is the still surface upon which the reflection of abundance becomes clear. The universe does not speak through noise or panic, it speaks through peace. Money, being energy, flows toward order, harmony, and confidence. A calm attitude communicates trust in divine timing. It declares that you know everything you need will come when it is meant to. The person who is calm in the midst of uncertainty is a magnet for miracles, because they have ceased to block the flow with resistance. Calmness does not mean inaction, it means poised assurance. It is the quiet knowing that all is well, and that supply is secure even when appearances suggest otherwise. Gratitude and calmness work together like the sun and the soil. Gratitude warms the seed of faith, and calmness gives it a place to grow. Without gratitude, calmness can become indifference. Without calmness, gratitude can become momentary excitement. Together, they form a steady vibration that sustains divine supply. When you are thankful, you tune into the abundance already present. When you are calm, you allow that abundance to unfold without interference. Most people block their blessings because they live in emotional turmoil. Grateful one day, fearful the next, joyful in plenty, anxious in lack. The universe responds to consistency, not confusion. The one who practices steady gratitude and calmness becomes a clear channel for the divine to pour its riches through. Each time you express gratitude, whether through words, thoughts, or feelings, you amplify the energy of sufficiency. You send a message to the universe that says, "I recognize your generosity, and I am ready for more." The law of increase responds instantly to that recognition. It begins to move through your circumstances, through people, and through opportunities to deliver more of what you have acknowledged. The thankful heart never runs dry, because it is always receiving and releasing, circulating wealth with joy. When you bless your money, bless your home, and bless your work with gratitude, you raise their vibration. What you bless increases, and what you criticize decreases. The secret to sustaining abundance is to maintain gratitude even for the smallest things, for small blessings are the seeds of greater ones. Calmness has a similar power, for it maintains the open channel through which your blessings arrive. When you are calm, your thoughts become clear, and clarity attracts solutions. In times of financial uncertainty, the calm person does not panic, they listen. In the silence of calmness, intuition speaks, and intuition is the voice of divine guidance. That still, small voice will direct you to the right action, the right idea, the right opportunity. But it can only be heard in quietness. The anxious mind is too loud to hear divine instruction. Calmness allows you to act from inspiration rather than reaction, and inspired action always leads to prosperity. It is not haste but harmony that produces lasting wealth. Gratitude and calmness create a magnetic field around you that draws people and circumstances in alignment with abundance. Others feel your peaceful confidence and are drawn to it. They trust you, they want to work with you, they want to give to you, because your energy radiates stability and appreciation. Opportunities appear seemingly by chance, but in truth, they are the reflection of your vibration. The grateful person is like a lighthouse in a storm, always shining, always drawing ships of supply toward them. The calm person is like a steady river, always flowing, never forced yet always reaching the sea of abundance. These two states of being are not emotional moods, but spiritual disciplines that can be cultivated through daily practice. Begin each day with gratitude. Thank divine substance for the unseen supply that is already making its way to you. Thank every person who contributes to your well-being. Thank every experience that has taught you strength or patience. Gratitude transforms your perspective. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is manifesting. Even in challenging moments, find one thing to appreciate, and your energy will begin to rise. The moment you express genuine gratitude, your frequency lifts, and higher frequencies attract higher forms of supply. What seemed blocked begins to move, not because the outer world changed, but because your vibration did. Calmness is cultivated through trust. To be calm is to surrender control to divine order. It is to say, I do not need to know how, I only need to know that it will be done. The more you trust, the calmer you become, and the calmer you become, the faster things unfold. The universe rushes to fill a calm vessel. The impatient and fearful mind constantly disturbs the flow, demanding signs and worrying over timing. The calm soul rests in assurance, allowing divine intelligence to handle the details. This rest is not laziness, it is power in motion. It is faith made visible through peace. When gratitude and calmness become your natural state, money begins to respond effortlessly. Bills are paid with ease because you no longer attach fear to them. Income flows through unexpected channels because your energy no longer restricts it. You begin to notice how your calm gratitude transforms interactions. Clients become more generous, opportunities more frequent, and obstacles dissolve without struggle. This is not coincidence. It is divine law fulfilling itself through your vibration. The one who thanks and trusts becomes a magnet for prosperity, because they live in harmony with the truth that all supply comes from divine source, not from circumstance. Every word of gratitude is an investment. Every moment of calmness is a deposit in the bank of the universe. Together they build a fortune that cannot be shaken by outer events. When others panic, you remain serene, and that serenity becomes your strength. The grateful and calm individual stands in the center of abundance, unaffected by temporary fluctuations. They understand that the economy, the market, or the opinions of others cannot determine their prosperity, because their source is divine and infinite. They stay inwardly steady, outwardly generous, and spiritually rich. The more you practice gratitude, the more natural it becomes. It stops being an effort and becomes your way of seeing life. You begin to thank in advance, not just in retrospect. You thank for what is coming as if it were already here, and that expectancy brings it faster. You thank for challenges because they refine your faith, and you thank for abundance because it expands your joy. Gratitude keeps you magnetic. Calmness keeps you aligned. Together they ensure that the divine supply never ceases to flow through your life. For the universe cannot resist the heart that is thankful and the spirit that is still. Inner order and trust sustain lasting abundance because wealth is not maintained by effort alone, but by harmony within. When your inner world is in order, your thoughts aligned, your emotions balanced, and your beliefs rooted in faith, you create a steady foundation that supports continuous prosperity. Many people attract money for a time, only to lose it because their inner life is disorganized. They live in fear of loss, guilt about gain, or confusion about purpose, and this inner conflict disrupts the flow of abundance. The universe responds to order, chaos repels prosperity. When your mind and heart are clear, the divine supply has a direct channel through which to move. Inner order is a sacred alignment with the laws of balance and clarity. It is knowing that wealth is an expression of divine intelligence working through you, not a possession you must clutch in fear. Trust is the spiritual strength that keeps this inner order stable. It is the invisible assurance that no matter what happens externally, your good cannot be taken from you. Trust connects you to the eternal rhythm of supply, which never falters and never ends. When you trust, you rest. You cease the anxious striving that blocks the natural flow of prosperity. Trust allows you to release control and move in harmony with divine timing. Without trust, even great wealth feels insecure. With trust, even a small amount feels sufficient, because you know more is always on the way. True trust dissolves fear, and where fear ends, flow begins. The one who trusts does not need to prove, chase, or panic. They live from a quiet confidence that divine intelligence governs their affairs perfectly. Inner order begins with your thoughts. Every thought carries energy, and when your mind is cluttered with doubt, guilt, or resentment, you create dissonance that interferes with abundance. To live in inner order, you must think thoughts that match prosperity. Think clarity instead of confusion, peace instead of pressure, sufficiency instead of scarcity. Your outer wealth cannot exceed the order of your inner world. A cluttered home reflects a cluttered mind, and a cluttered mind reflects an unsettled spirit. Begin with small steps, bring harmony to your surroundings, organize your finances, simplify your space. Every act of order sends a message to the universe that you are ready for more. The law of increase responds to readiness, not chaos. As within, so without. Inner structure creates outer stability. Trust is the emotional expression of that structure. It means you no longer live as if life is uncertain. You stop reacting to appearances and begin responding from principle. When you see a temporary dip in finances, trust reminds you that the flow has not stopped. It has only shifted form. You understand that divine substance is infinite, and that what is meant for you cannot be withheld. Trust is a calm expectancy that divine order is always unfolding, even when the path seems unclear. It allows you to move through uncertainty with grace instead of fear. Every time you choose trust over worry, you strengthen the spiritual foundation that sustains your abundance. Inner order and trust work together to create a vibration that keeps money flowing harmoniously. Imagine a river. If its path is blocked by debris, the water stagnates. The debris of negative thoughts, anxiety, and disorganization does the same to your financial flow. When you clear the inner clutter, the current moves freely. Trust acts as the guiding current, ensuring that the river of supply never runs dry. You stop trying to force outcomes and instead allow the divine current to carry you where you are meant to go. That surrender is not weakness. It is strength born from alignment with higher law. The steady, trustful soul never fears loss, for they know that nothing can be lost in divine mind. To sustain abundance, one must live in alignment with purpose. Inner order brings clarity about what truly matters, and trust gives the courage to follow that purpose without fear. When you align your actions with integrity and service, wealth becomes a natural byproduct. It flows toward you because you are in harmony with the universal law of giving and receiving. A person out of order may chase money without meaning, but their gains will vanish because their foundation is unstable. The one who is orderly and trusting, however, builds wealth that endures. They understand that prosperity is not a number. It is a state of mind rooted in peace and confidence. When trust governs your thoughts, you begin to act with wisdom. You no longer make decisions from fear of missing out or anxiety about the future. You spend, save, and invest from a place of peace. You give freely because you know giving opens the channel for more to return. You receive graciously because you understand that accepting good honors the divine giver. Inner order manifests as discipline, clarity, and self-respect. It shows in how you handle your money, your time, and your relationships. A person who is inwardly ordered does not need to control the outer world, because they have learned to control their vibration. They are no longer at the mercy of chance or circumstance. They are guided by law and sustained by trust. There will be moments when your faith is tested, when outer conditions appear uncertain, and when fear tries to shake your order. In those moments, return to stillness. Remind yourself that divine intelligence never fails. Speak words of order and trust into your situation. Declare that everything is working together for your good. Affirm that supply is infinite and always available. Every time you center yourself in these truths, you strengthen your inner order. Chaos cannot persist in a mind anchored in divine law. You begin to experience the peace that wealth cannot buy. The peace that sustains wealth itself. Inner order also means harmony between your mind, emotions, and spirit. When you think abundance but feel fear, you send mixed signals to the universe. When you desire prosperity but speak lack, you divide your energy. The secret is unity. Think abundance, feel abundance, and speak abundance. When all three agree, your manifestation becomes inevitable. Trust unites these parts of you. It harmonizes your inner world so that every part of your being moves in the same direction. When you reach this level of coherence, abundance flows continuously because there is no resistance left to stop it. The universe operates on rhythm and balance. Night follows day, tide follows moon, and supply follows faith. Inner order aligns you with this natural rhythm, so that you no longer struggle against it. Trust keeps you in that rhythm when appearances tempt you to doubt. Together, they make your prosperity stable, not seasonal. You stop experiencing the highs and lows of inconsistent wealth, and instead enjoy the steady, graceful flow of divine supply. You are no longer swayed by outer trends because your security rests in something eternal. You have learned to govern your inner world, and the outer world reflects that mastery. When you live with inner order and trust, even challenges become part of your abundance. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to deepen your faith. Every delay strengthens your patience. Every lesson refines your character. This spiritual maturity ensures that your wealth remains under divine protection, sustained by wisdom and guided by purpose. You do not fear losing what you have, because you know the source of your good is within you, not outside of you. You carry your prosperity consciousness wherever you go, and it reproduces itself in every environment. Lasting abundance is not a stroke of luck, but the natural result of inner harmony. When you trust the divine process and maintain inner order, you create a field of stability that no external storm can shake. The world may change, markets may rise and fall, but your peace remains unbroken. That peace becomes your true wealth. It draws opportunities, multiplies resources, and attracts allies who resonate with your calm energy. The one who is ordered within walks in quiet confidence, knowing that divine substance is constantly flowing through every aspect of their life. They live free from fear of loss, certain that as long as they remain inwardly aligned, abundance will continue to flow, replenishing itself in divine perfection.